The year is 2025 and the world is facing a serious economic crisis. This is not just a blip on the radar. This is a confluence of interconnected factors that have shaken the foundations of the global economy. From escalating trade wars to soaring inflation, the world is grappling with a perfect storm of challenges. The consequences are dire. Unemployment is rising, currencies are weakening, and investment has slowed to a trickle. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How did we get here, and what can we do about it? The roots of this crisis run deep. Years of simmering geopolitical tensions, coupled with the economic aftershocks of the COVID-19 pandemic, have created a fragile global landscape. Add to this the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and the stage was set for a major economic downturn. The warning signs have been flashing for some time, but now the storm has arrived in full force. The human cost of this crisis is impossible to ignore. Millions are facing job losses, rising costs of living, and an uncertain future. Governments around the world are struggling to respond, often resorting to austerity measures that exacerbate the pain felt by ordinary citizens. The situation is dire, but amidst the gloom there are glimmers of hope. International cooperation, while strained, remains our best chance to weather this storm. By working together we can address the root causes of this crisis and build a more resilient and equitable global economy. The path forward will not be easy, but the stakes are too high to fail. The time for action is now. One of the most significant drivers of the 2025 economic crisis is the resurgence of trade wars and protectionist policies. The ongoing trade dispute between the United States and China, two economic behemoths, has sent shockwaves through the global trading system. Tit-for-tat tariffs have disrupted supply chains, increased costs for businesses, and fueled uncertainty in the markets. The impact of these trade tensions extends far beyond the borders of the US and China. Countries heavily reliant on exports to these economic powerhouses are feeling the pinch as demand slows, and access to markets becomes more difficult. The interconnected nature of the global economy means that a trade war between two countries can quickly escalate into a global trade conflict with devastating consequences for all involved. The rise of protectionism is a worrying trend that threatens to unravel decades of progress toward a more open and integrated global economy. When countries retreat behind tariff walls, it not only harms their own economies, but also undermines the rules-based trading system that has underpinned global prosperity for decades. The current trade war is a stark reminder of the dangers of protectionism and the need for greater cooperation and dialogue in the realm of international trade. The economic pain inflicted by these trade wars is real, and is being felt by businesses and consumers alike. The uncertainty generated by the constantly shifting landscape of tariffs and trade barriers makes it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, leading to reduced investment and job creation. Consumers, meanwhile, are facing higher prices for everyday goods as tariffs are passed on to them. The trade war is a lose-lose situation for everyone involved and a major contributor to the current global economic crisis. While trade wars rage, another set of interconnected challenges is pushing the global economy closer to the brink. Inflation, once a distant memory in many parts of the world, has roared back with a vengeance. Supply chain disruptions caused by the pandemic, combined with soaring energy prices fueled by geopolitical instability, have created a perfect storm for rising prices. Central banks, faced with this inflationary spiral, have been forced to raise interest rates, attempting to cool down overheated economies. However, these interest rate hikes come with their own set of risks. Higher borrowing costs can stifle investment and economic growth, potentially pushing economies already teetering on the edge of recession into a full-blown downturn. The situation is particularly precarious for emerging markets and developing economies, many of which are already grappling with high levels of debt and limited fiscal space to respond to economic shocks. Adding fuel to the fire is the persistent geopolitical instability that continues to plague the world. The war in Ukraine, with its devastating human toll, has also sent shockwaves through global energy and food markets. Russia, a major energy exporter, has seen its exports disrupted by sanctions, leading to skyrocketing energy prices. Ukraine, a major grain exporter, has seen its agricultural production severely hampered by the conflict, contributing to a global food crisis. The combination of these factors, rampant inflation, rising interest rates, and geopolitical instability, has created a toxic brew that is poisoning the global economy. Businesses are struggling to cope with rising input costs and falling demand, while consumers are being squeezed by shrinking purchasing power. The situation is dire, and the path forward remains unclear. The 2025 global economic crisis is a complex and multifaceted challenge with no easy solutions. However, amidst the gloom, there are glimmers of hope. International cooperation, while strained, remains our best chance at weathering this storm. By working together, we can address the root causes of this crisis and build a more resilient and equitable global economy. One crucial step is to de-escalate trade tensions and return to a rules-based trading system. This will require dialogue and compromise from all parties involved, but the alternative, a descent into protectionism and economic warfare, is simply too dangerous to contemplate. Governments must resist the temptation to retreat behind tariff walls and instead work together to strengthen the institutions that underpin global trade. Another key priority is to address the underlying drivers of inflation. This will require a multi-pronged approach that includes easing supply chain bottlenecks, investing in renewable energy sources to reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and providing targeted support to those most affected by rising prices. Central banks, while walking a tightrope between controlling inflation and supporting economic growth, must carefully calibrate their monetary policy responses to avoid tipping economies into recession. Finally, addressing the root causes of geopolitical instability, including the conflict in Ukraine, is essential for restoring confidence and stability to the global economy. This will require diplomacy, dialogue, and a commitment to finding peaceful solutions to international disputes. The human and economic costs of conflict are simply too high to ignore. The 2025 global economic crisis is a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world and the need for collective action. By working together, we can navigate this crisis and build a more prosperous and sustainable future for all.